person welcome the second affirmative construct within 8 minutes.
Before starting my speech, I will show my role. Hands up on one, hands up on two. Disadvantage. Maybe variation. Hands up on one, hands up on two. The limitation. If time always, I will come from affirmative. Evidence 2枚だけ送ったんですけど。May I start? Firstly, as for counterpoint, ASA point observation, first part, maybe on this point they said that there is two interpretations that is only right, and second one is right and duty. And under the stethoscope, Supreme Court's interpretation, maybe it is juristic. So, compressor coding is introduced or something. However, first, please look at their evidence number counterpoint 1, counterpoint 1. I show culture. Sorry, please look at evidence number MA5 and MA7, MA5 and MA7, which I sent it. Introduce as transitive form means to bring into practice. And compressor means you must do it because of rule of law. At the time second, introduce compressor boarding means not only interpreted or described in the law or Supreme Courts interpret it as a duty or something, but bring into practice. It is the definition of the introducing compressor boarding. Therefore second, our conclusion is that compressor boarding is not introduced yet. Hence, there is no need to take this counterplan, or this counterplan should not be taken. At least, third, both adoption can be taken by time permutation, time permutation. If we really have to clarify the interpretation of the Constitution as the Supreme Court, first we read it and then introduce compressor boarding as practice. That's superior to this counterplan because we can gain maximum solvency. Both adoption can gain the maximum solvency. That is to prioritize the Supreme Court's interpretation and bring into practice compressor boarding as a reality. My conclusion is that compressor boarding is not introduced yet, so today affirmative plan can be taken as a introducing compressor boarding into practice. Next, go to counterplan 2. As for counterplan 2, maybe what they are saying that non-article plus plural means all or general. So today's affirmative, so they exclude the re-election from the mandate, affirmative plan's mandate. However, firstly, cross-apply their evidence. If negative cannot say the cross-apply their evidence, non-article plus plural noun means in general. At that time, if the negative cannot say the re-election is general thing, this counterplan is in typical area, hence kick out. Moreover, second, I show inferiority. If only the re-election were made optional voting, only that person's seat would be considered lightly. Because re-election is not compressor voting, then maybe people think re-election is not important, or people who are elected by the re-election is maybe not important or something. At that time, their seat will be considered lightly. This is a violation of equality. At least, both adoption can be taken by time permutation after introducing compressor voting to all elections, including re-election. If the cost or burden cause big bad reaction from the citizens, we can adjust it, like to exclude re-elections from the compressor voting. That is enough to confirm the effect of the compressor voting in re-election. Maybe it is enough to, so both adoption can be taken at least. So this counterplan 2 cannot be the negative size voter. Let's go to the disadvantage. As for disadvantage, ASA point uniqueness, maybe negative size want to say that thanks to voluntary voting system under the stethoscope, people feel no pressure, and people who really want to go to vote are going to vote. However, after plan, adult linkage will occur because they are enforced to go vote, even if they don't want to do that or something. However, first, check the assumption. The assumption is that maybe depriving people's free time by voting is irrational, or such dissatisfaction caused by voting enforcement cannot be justified on something. However, no linkage. When we think of the compulsory voting, its characteristics is maybe close to the current other administrative procedures such as license renewals or my number card or tax returns procedure or something. It's just one of the actions that generally people do in order to take social services. Right? At the time, I agree that those procedures are burden for some people, but almost all people accept it when it is duty or necessary for them, and simply just do it. Then, by only voting action, maybe it takes 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 1 hour per 4 years or 6 years, while other duties of official procedure take much longer time or more often occur. At the time, why people uniquely feel dissatisfaction with compulsory voting is totally unknown, and maybe it can be ignored. It is too little dissatisfaction. So please keep their linkage and impact. Moreover, even if they feel a little dissatisfied at the very moment of voting, it's just a short-term impact, right? It is overclaimed to say that such a short-term dissatisfaction, maybe like 1 week before the election or 1 month, can cause a great impact on politics or a great impact to nation. At the time, we should prioritize to make prioritization or targeting based on the whole people's happiness. Maybe people do not notice the actual change or actual improvement for their actual lives, but if we consider as a whole nation's better policy or benefits for the people, maybe even if people do not notice, it is important to take action as a government to protect people's lives or happiness as a whole nation. Moreover, at least as for CISA point impact, maybe on this point they said that people's dissatisfaction leads to random vote or something. However, there is no proof that random voting or maybe negative side will say populism or some people will vote with not paying enough cost or something. However, the actual impact caused by such voting is totally unknown. So please keep their impact. At that time, even if voting becomes a duty, they will simply obey it without lowering their action quality. Moreover, maybe negative side will say Japan should prioritize the individual will to prevent dissatisfaction or something. However, second, initially it is impossible to prioritize all people and make all people satisfied, as I said in affirmative observation. And if they care about people's dissatisfaction every time they conduct some policies, they cannot do anything. Therefore, second, what the government has to do is to consider how to sustain the nation and how to secure its citizens in long term. Then I will move on to affirmative observation and AD. Cross-apply AD as a point inherence second place. Under the status of voting rate is only 50%. Maybe negative want to say that when it is enough or what percentage can be enough for the better policy or something. However, cross-apply our AD, if uniquely after plan, even if there is a 1% voting will rise, it can be make a better policy for people because the gap between the reality and the status quo policies will be decreased by even if one person votes or one person voting. That's all.
First examination time for negative sign.
For disadvantage, so you talk about whole nation's benefit.
Yes.
What is the whole nation benefit?
A whole nation benefit is cross-supply AD to decrease the gap between the policies and people's actual demand or priority or target.
Okay. So, on BA, so what you're trying to say is that it is impossible to achieve all people's satisfaction or something, right?
Yes.
And at that time, it is necessary to do prioritization and review. Is your stance?
Right. Yes, as a whole nation. Or what I want to say is that if we care about these people's dissatisfaction occurred by maybe enforcement or something, at the time government can do nothing. If we care much people's dissatisfaction occurred by maybe compulsory voting or some political insurance system or something.
So could you tell us the policy which can relate to whole nation's benefit?
Whole nation's benefit.
Yes.
Or maybe it is depend on the actual situation. But for example, if the elderly people's voting rate will rise, then government has to spend more budget to such sector.
But for young people, why is it the beneficial?
But it is a balance. It is a balancing because a government should be take care of all citizens right at that time. And maybe there is a policy that will not satisfy younger generation, but as a whole nation, it is important to take care of the elderly if it is necessary or it is many people has dissatisfaction or problem with that.
Okay, thank you. So then go to counterpoint two. So you show the inferiority that people see re-election is less important or something, right? So what will be the actual impact of this inferiority?
Okay, maybe after this counter plan, maybe there is a one person or two person will be elected by the re-election. At the time, even though he or she is the one person, equal one person, but if a government admits re-election do not need the compulsory voting, maybe people start to think that person is not important or.
No, I am asking about the actual impact of this inferiority.
What do you mean by actual impact?
Like some bad situation happens because of inferiority.
That is the bad situation. The seats will not be the equal, even though the all elected member is representatives of all people, or should be equal for the should be equal because there are all elected members, and they should be equal of the direct members.
Okay. Then you talk about time permutation or something.
Yes.
What does it mean?
That means after compulsory voting, we can adjust if the re-election's burden is maybe cause big impact. Then we accept the re-election after introducing compulsory voting to all national elections.
Why is it superior?
Why it is because we can examine both situation, or maybe it is a possibility that re-election will not be the big burden for people. Then we can.
There is time for negative side.